Welcome back, everyone. We're getting ready to move into the second half of day one right here in the grand finals for the Asia Showdown Season 3. My name's Dika. I am joining Torix, as we are going to be going through the insanity, which is the past 3 games we've seen so far. We've seen 3 teams hitting double-digit eliminations. I'd be worried if it was triple digits because where would they find all of them? But yes, double digits. That's what we've been seeing, and it seems like that is going to be the name of the game here today. Absolute aggression, relentless pushing, and of course, the teams trying to wrap it up as fast as they can.
I mean, everything is going so good with these teams and all of these players. One game, there's one team that's performing outstandingly. There's the second game, that's another team performing. Third game, it's a different name, and I'm loving this. Everyone having a chance to express their emotions and their gameplays. It's amazing. And just the last match, A1, the cheeky move that they just pulled off, getting that winner chicken dinner, it was absolutely insane. Just the 2 eliminations and a winner chicken dinner on top of that. That actually shows even if you're not taking the fight consistently head on, even if you're a solo player alive at the very end of the match, you can still have the chance to secure the winner chicken dinner for yourself, and that's exactly what we saw. But aside from that, yes, it is the map number 4. Once again, we're gonna see Erangel being played. The map of Erangel, it's definitely going to bring up some of the differences between the teams, the players, more and more maybe aggressive sides of the teams as well, because the last Erangel was kind of on, at one point in time, so much aggressive that one place, every single place, in fact 3 to 4 different places, we were having not just one fight between 2 teams. It was 3 teams coming on, 4 teams coming on at one head collision throughout this whole journey, and they were colliding. Take Shelter, for example, outskirts of Shelter. Those were some compounds, the bottom side of the Shelter area, where there were 6 teams. In fact, if our memory serves us right, DK, 6 teams came into that compound to just take the fight.
Yep, 6 teams in one compound. Still absolutely crazy. Not quite sure what on earth was going on over there, but hey, we'll see whether or not any of that insanity is going to happen this time around, as well as we have a slightly different flight path to the first one. Right, the first one was very south, starting over on towards the western part, just west of Quarry, heading over towards Nobar. Now, this time around, it's coming from the military island all the way up towards Stolba. So a slight shift in the approach, but let's see where that zone is going to be taking us. Will it lean over towards that far eastern side again, or will it take us somewhere else?
I mean, that's the question, where the circle is going to take these teams, these players, in fact, is going to force them, in fact, if I have to say, to which direction. So far, Vampire, for some reason, I'm seeing them at the very bottom of the military base island to the hard south. But yes, they have an easy entry in the circle. Nobody's going to be pushing them up from that angle. Nobody's going to be even poking them, knowing that even if they are there or not, they're going to be completely invisible. But Pachinki, I'm seeing 2 different teams near the area, but not close enough to engage and start that fight. DRS and Champions, on the other hand, whereas Champion, we're still seeing them glide to the Milta power plant. Milta City is being contested by the DRS. Rozok has a Boomy Sports, Talon maybe near, as well as a Bigatron by Vitality on top of that as well. So Alter Ego going to these guys, just a single guy. Rosemary close to the proximity of Alpha 7. This is the first initial fight that we might see at this point in time, as Alpha 7 is in the front lines. Alter Ego is in this particular location as well, with Rosemary 911 being here, getting a shotgun connected. Alpha 7, that's the first one down right there. First blood has been drawn.
Yeah, first blood has been drawn indeed. Now, it's going to be to see whether or not the rest of Alpha 7 are going to be able to survive. We do have Sen up right here, up at the top. Nice little bit of Overwatch coming through from Rosemary. Are they going to be able to get that res up in Krypton? That will be the big question, but hey, there we go. Alter Ego moving in, clearing house. And now the rest of Alpha 7 are going to look to move on up. Up comes Revo. Are they going to be able to maybe clutch this one? Krypton, not quite sure what happened there, but there was no attempt being made to get that res to bring Alter Ego back up to a 4-piece. Now, hitting on the Vespa.
Oh.
There could be a play here
Whoa.
for Alpha now to go flying down the hill.
You don't see this anywhere but here, taking a Vespa from one location to another. Okay, this is absolutely criminal at this point. Oh my god, Alter Ego, you're in desperate need to find the cars, find the vehicles for yourself. But going into the champions so far, champions have also lost some of their players, at least one. The second guy is close near the DRS, but DRS misses their shots. Keno finally is going to go towards his own teammates. He's actually dragging the DRS's player, in fact, to that direction. Maybe he's baiting them up. As soon as the champion one is back to their teammate, the shots that are going to come around from that angle towards these players, it's definitely going to be phenomenal. But here we go. DRS so far. Dan Chad, no car whatsoever. He's just on his barefoot, so running. Whereas JD example, they're like, okay, we're coming back to get you guys. But still, it's just the first stage. It's just the first phase. 4 minutes more before the first stage even closes up. Stage number 1 is not going to bring any kind of destructive moves for any of the teams.
Yeah, well, let's see now what is going to come through here as Team Secret are just pushing further and further out of that Pachinki region. Now heading out into the fields. Fortunately for Frankie here, there's nobody currently making their way through this. So there is still quite a bit of an opportunity for that repositioning to come on in. But I'm curious to see where the next big crazy fight is going to break out. Oh, here we go. Shots connecting in.
I don't know. I don't know for sure. Maybe it's definitely going to be a fight, but not a crazy fight whatsoever. Alpha 7 on the other hand, taking the fight versus Alter Ego. There we go. That's a knockdown right there. Rosemary gets a finisher. Alter Ego also losing not one, but 2 of their players. And now with the duo alongside of Alpha 7's trio, they only managed to secure 1 player. In fact, if my memory serves me right, they took down 2 of the players of the Alpha 7, and that's exactly what happened. Both of the parties actually managed to secure 2 of each of the players. Now, with that duo, Alter Ego, Alpha 7, Alter Ego still on the very top of the leaderboard. Hora Esports are right close to them with just 4 points of a difference right now. It can be taken in this match, maybe in the next one. But yes, there's a high probability that Hora Esports, if they play it good, this match at the very least, they're definitely coming on top, on the very top of the leaderboard. And just look at the amount of placement, total points, the differentiation between the number 2 and the number 3. 42 all the way down to 28. That's 14 points of a difference going around. Meaning without a chicken dinner, without some decent number of elimination plus a chicken dinner, you're not going to be able to like overtake the number 2 or the number 1.
Yeah, the pressure is going to be pretty tough on them. So let's see if there is going to be any catching being done here. Team Ermacy, the closest team now to that top 2. But as we know, the prize pool only goes to 5th place. So DRX also very close to getting entry to that top 5. Same can be said for A1 as well as Talon and E Arena. A few bumper car plays coming through here. As Federales gets stopped in that play. Not going to be able, Federale, to continue heading straight on forward. A1 now feeling a little bit of heat here as Talon are going to be poking over the rooftops. Taking fire. Looking to see if they can maybe halt any kind of advances or rotations going past them.
I mean, right now, this is still the stage number 1 that's going to close. 55 seconds of more, and the stage will become the stage number next. But 18 out of 18 teams, there's only the player casualties going around, and kill feed has actually lit up once again. Some of the players are taken their opponents down, getting them eliminated. Yangon is one of the reason. DRS's player, one player at the very least, is on his knee so far. So whatever DRS is doing, they have to like change that direction. They have to get their player revived up. But oh, wait a second, that player has changed to not just one, but two now. DRS losing their two players, but that's just knockouts. There's still hope for the DRS to get that revived, but Yangon Galacticos, on the other hand, they're going to lose their player, get it knocked down, and it's a confirmation straight up.
Well, let's see where this next push is going to take us. Whether or not Yangon Galacticos are going to be able to get the rush in on towards DRS. Cloud up on the ridge, finds a beautiful hit, takes quite a bit of damage in exchange as well. Now it's going to be Samsa looking to close it up, and that is going to be Yangon Galacticos out of here. Out they go in 18th, the first team making their way to the lobby.
That's the one team, ladies and gentlemen. That's our first team of this match, of the match number 4, to get fully wiped out of this lobby. DRS also is going to give that revive to their own teammates, but oh, this circle shift going Gutka region, going to the quarry areas. These particular locations are definitely going to be completely out into the open, so you only have your own car to get yourself covers, maybe a hovercraft that will come into the play if you want to have a decent amount of cover for yourself. But aside from that, look at Gutka. There's not just 1, 2, that's 3 to 4 different teams. But Frankie, you're on fire, you are lit. But Terang also cooking a grenade, gonna throw near the team BTR's player. It's gonna go. It's not gonna get the connectivity. The player's still gonna be on the 75% HP that he is. But Secret's losing their player in a different location. Zarus alongside of Terang, alongside of Frankie. It's these 3 players, but Terang gets taken down. Zarus is gonna throw a in fact smoke grenade. He's going to smoke the place up and move close, maybe near the BTR. But first, it's going to be a grenade. And no connectivity. Oh my god, you were so close, but no connectivity whatsoever. TS Frankie waiting for the team to enter. There we go. BTR has not only just entered, they have successfully taken this compound almost for themselves, as one more player is loaned HP, but the comes into the play, taking the one player down, but now he's the final hope. He's the only hope of the team, and they're getting pushed. Team Secret out of the match, and BTR with 2 decent eliminations.
Well, let's see whether or not BTR are going to be able to find even more now. They're not quite out of the woods. Still quite a few teams just hovering around in the vicinity. As you can see, we did see Deathstorm over towards that western side. So A1 as well as E Arena up on the ridge. So Bigatron might have a little bit of a tough time now moving forward from here.
I mean, this is still not that intense of a circle that we're making it out to be. But yes, the intensity is definitely there. Because the amount of teams, the more teams that are alive, the more intense it's going to be. Stage number 2, it's closing on in 15 seconds. And I see 4 teams. The A7, Vampire, DRS, Ultra Eagle, still facing that damage of the blue zone. They're still not in the safe zone area where they're not receiving the blue damage. Horror Esports has one of their players down, knocked out. Someone needs to get that revival done upon the players, but Horror versus Drive Arrow Messi. It's a 1-2 ratio to 2, but Hora Esports is also going to lose 2 of their players. That's the second one down as well. It's a 2 versus 2. A1, the last match of Winona Chicken Takers, close to E Arena, close to Boom, close to BTR. So they're kind of into the center point of these 3 different teams, but Drive Arrow Messi versus Hora, and Hora wins it over. 4 elimination to Hora's name, and they're going to have still the second placement point, second total overall ranking placement for themselves. But Hora, the fight has not yet stopped. There is another team, Voin Donkeys, is into the play. They're hungry to get more and more eliminations even for themselves. As No Fear giving that revive to Jiggle. He leaves, he even moves his hand, and it's over for Jiggle at that point. Jiggle.
Well, let's see whether or not Hora are going to be able to follow through on the assault here, as you've mentioned, right, lost Sleepy already. No Fear up on the front line, just trying to keep a little bit of overwatch here, while Jiggle and Skuuy takes to the sky as they move further and further afield, looking for all the possible angles they could look to secure. Nice quick reposition here. I love this angle now that they have down into the opposing side. But is that going to be enough, though, to secure the finishes? Will they be able to get those plays on in? Horror starting to rotate up. Ooh, they could actually get in front of Voin Donkey. RRQ, though, in the meantime, will be ended by the side of Sem9. Now the pressure is going to be on. Will Nobar be able to get their team back into fighting form as A1 looks onto E Arena? The rotations continuing to just compound onto each other here. And again, it is getting more and more spicy as we progress further.
It's constantly getting spicy, spicier, spiciest at this point. Alpha A1, in fact, so far. Alpha 7, they are still alive, but a solo. 2 elimination, and that's not looking good. But yes, A1 is on our screen right now, and we have talked about this multiple times. But wait a second, CJ Boy, he has a VSS? After all of this time, after a long time, I'm seeing someone use a VSS. Maybe because they don't have any more options on their gun arsenal. That's why they're using a VSS. But in this particular location, I would say this mountain ridges, the outskirts of the Gutka, VSS makes wonderful choice of a gun. It definitely helps a lot majority of the time. But Arena so far, not a lot of movements. They know they're in the circle. They are somewhere in the decent position of the circle. But for some reason, NC2, he wants the team to push. He is making sure that his location is known to the other players.
Well, let's see what is going to happen here. If that bait from NC2 is going to work out. In the meanwhile, it's going to be Vampires hitting into the side of DRX. Now, Tony K going to try and find a bit of an opportunity here, trying to steal a few of those elimination points away from them. Voin Donkey also going to be holding steadily over on towards that eastern side, but they don't seem to be all too phased with the shots going off around them. Revo up on the ridge line, continuing to move on up, going to try and utilize the terrain to sneak their way back into a little bit more of a secure angle here. But again, a very challenging spot that they find themselves in. It is going to be Alter Ego going toe-to-toe now with Voin Donkey. The push is there. Potato going to be hiding in the little corner there. Zeta could get met with a little bit of aggression here, but a quick reposition, and down they go. The nades find the damage, but not soon enough.
In fact, Zeta got knocked out by Potato's grenade. Imagine if that grenade would have hit first. That would have been an instant elimination of Voin Donkeys, at least Zeta at that point. And you know what's going to happen next for Potato. It's his own teammates giving him a lecture on how to throw the grenades at that point. But there we go. Aura Esports versus... in fact, Vampire Esports into the front line, but DRS also alongside of the proximity of Sem9. The hovercraft here, the player's gonna get out. It is a face-to-face fight, and JD loses it up. It's a knockdown, it's a confirmation, and in an instant, the backside of fire comes in to Sem9's player as well. Yuhai is trying to get the cover done onto players, but he himself managed to get into the compound. Now DRS, they're pushing as example comes into the close of the 56 window to building, but there we go, example gets taken down. Yuhai is here, front lines. It's still the S12K. The DBS is not getting any kind of connection. DBS versus DBS. And I would say S12K would have been a better choice at this point, because after the 2 bullets, you get a slight bit of a reload. Yes, the bullet trace, it's definitely good for the DBS, and he actually managed to get it off. DRS is out of the match. 5 eliminations on the hashtag number 12. But still, 11 more teams to go. 4th stage has commenced, and it has started. In fact, it started to close on, even though, yes, Sem9 is in the circle. They have the blue, in fact, the safe zone for themselves. There's definitely going to be a lot of teams, a lot of names that maybe trying to hold her up this position just because it is at the very corner and it is the hard shift of the circle.
Well, we'll find out soon what is going to be the mentality of the teams going through the remainder of this game. But looking at the northern side, it is absolutely jam-packed with players all over the place. All right, now trying to get themselves back into the swing of things as Jiggle has been knocked down. No Fear is going to get that race through. Vampire just lurking on the edge, going to wait for an opportunity. And there's a quick re-knock now onto Jiggle. It's going to be Vinna being an absolute menace at this point. Hovercraft also just getting in the way, trying to protect the player. But now, Champion Esports, unfortunately, will not be able to survive as the grenades have connected on through. Vampire coming through with a follow-up. The vehicles are coming into play. And here we have that zone shift going back over towards the west.
It's west. It's the journey to west now for all of these teams that are outside. They need to get into their cars and they need to move as soon as possible. Horror Esports, they're not going to be able to survive throughout this game at the very least, but they still managed to take down the first spot for themselves. Alter Ego is now 2 points behind. Or maybe they're actually in the same point marker. Yes, they are in the same points marker. BTR, they're the only one into the top 5 that's alive so far with 25 points in total, with 22 points of the total and 3 in this match elimination. DRX down to the last guy. It is Talon Esports versus Boom. It's happening. The grenade, the shots, the connectivity, it happened. Talon Esports lost to 1 player, but now Talon Esports, how are you going to retaliate with the 3 players that you have remaining against the Team Boom Esports? Flame going to get out of the compound. Once again, is going to move back in. The grenade from Axel side is going to take down Johan. Johan, as he's knocked out. Boom Esports, whether they like it or not, now they will have to come close into the area to get that revival done. They know at this point that, okay, the player might still be into the cover because it's the top of the ridge. Nobody's going to be pushing forward because if they do, they're instantly going to be spotted down. But Yoru Yohan, he's still cooking those grenades. He's throwing it up randomly in hopes to get any kind of connection, but a grenade did come close to him. He's lucky enough to survive so far, but 9 total teams, out of which I can already see five teams in the single northeastern corner.
That is going to be a pretty hot and pressured position to play from, but it's going to be Boom Esports trying to hold on. They do succeed as they take down Talon and managing to hold on to all 4 the players. But for how much longer will they be able to do that? As the rush is going to come through. There we have it. BTR now moving into position. Looking to capitalize. BRX also getting absolutely packed on up. Off they go. So the numbers starting to crumble. We only have 7 teams left. It's still going to be Boom. Oh, beautiful play there from Kent. Coming in with a drop shot. Just making it so difficult here for Boom Esports to hold on. Now, as you can see, A1, they're going to be starting to ride that ridge as well. It's trying to sneak in, come in behind a very wounded and battered BTR. And now with the final 6 teams, it is still essentially anyone's game to take here.
I mean, this is still... It's still these 6 teams' chances to secure the winner chicken dinner. And out of all of these teams, not even a single one has got a decent number of eliminations throughout this whole 3 matches journey that we have seen witnessed so far. Sem9, they have the 9 elimination. This can be the start for the Sem9, but A1, they had the chicken dinner of the last match, right? If they take another win over the chicken dinner, let's see what's gonna happen. How is it going to affect their overall ranking? But oh my god, CJ, boy, you beauty. Getting a connection with this much of so short of time. Get a peek, get a shot, get a knockdown right there. But no, still not the momentum that you need to aggress and rush on the teams, because you have the corner off the circle. The stage number 7 is definitely going to be intense, and you don't want to lose your particular compounds that you have for yourself so far. But A1 Flash is here trying to get on top of the cars. Tourniquet finally being revved as well. 2 eliminations to the E-Arena, but at the 4 men still at their disposal. It's a great start. It's a great game for the team E-Arena as well. Aside from the E-Arena, there is Vampire Esports that's alive with the 4-man squad. The rest of them, it's a trio, it's a duo, and yeah, there's no solo whatsoever.
Well, the nice thing about the hovercraft is at least you're not as vulnerable as you are in the cards, right? Even though you can still get whipped out of it, as you've mentioned earlier. But now, Sem9, they don't have the luxury of a hovercraft for the rest of the rotation, right? They're going to have to opt for a vehicle as they move on forward. Manpa taking so much damage. Yuhai quickly just peeling out of the car, trying to hop on in. As we do see Sem9 taking occupancy of a good centralized compound. One of the only few left in the zone. Void Donkey, though, they're going to be holding over towards that eastern side, but the west is where the pressure will be. It's going to be Vampires now looking to get themselves situated as they come pushing on forward. Arena going to be the first squad now looking to welcome them on in. Let's see, will they be able to get the job done? Are they going to be welcoming them in with warm barrels, or will the Vampire Esports squad get the jump on them? Of course, Vampire is now doing a good job this time around, coming through with those 4 eliminations, essentially doubling their points that they came into this match with. But are they going to be able to push it all the way to potentially maybe even that top 3, looking for even more? A1 being an absolute menace, also then coming through from that northern side. I like the contention and the pressure that these teams are applying on each other. But now, look at this though. Mueller going to try and use the vehicle to get a good lay of the land, looking into that top window. Meanwhile, Void Donkey going to try and fend off BTR as they continue to push. So much pressure coming in here.
Biggotron by Vitality. Biggotron by Vitality. 7 elimination. Close to Void Donkeys. And no connection whatsoever so far. But Arena versus Vampire. What's happening, ladies and gentlemen? The grenade from the BTR actually connected towards the Void Donkeys as well. Now the circle's floating on. You have to push. You have to go. Potato is the final hope for the team. And Void Donkeys is Potato. He's going to throw the grenade. It's definitely going to hit a lot. It's going to do a damage. But not enough to get the player out. In fact, it's going to fuel Fedralis' urges to push, and he pushes, gets that elimination. We're in the top 5, ladies and gentlemen, with 9 elimination at the arsenal, at the disposal of Biggotron by Vitality. There's a Vampire Esports fighting with Arena. A1 making their entry against Vampire Esports as well with the grenade. They managed to secure a knockdown. It's a confirmation. In fact, it's a second knockdown on Vampires' player, as Winner J, he gets finished off by just getting eliminated with his HP being knocked out. The second one gets a finisher. The third one, last of the Vampire, also gets a finisher. A1, this is the 3rd elimination that they're gonna have, but BTR, Sem9 with 9 eliminations and 3 players alive. Arena with 4 eliminations, 3 players alive. It's definitely a potential of a 3 versus 3 versus 3 that can actually commence. But A1 also has like 3 eliminations and 3 man standing. It's a standoff of 4 different teams, equilibrium of 4 different teams, 3 versus 3 versus 3 versus 3 at this point. A1 pushing forward. Arena in the front lines. Turney K dodging his bullets, going into the back. Grenade is being cooked. He's finally out of the house. In fact, another one comes in straight on his face. Gets that as well. Stay connected. And with this, now potentially A1 is down to the 2, down to the 1. And the solo guy, he's just chilling. He's just thrown down into the back lines, and that is CJ Boy. CJ Boy, you have to do something. But Arena, this is a decent number of points that they're gonna finally have for themselves. A1 pushing on, close in, 1897 getting a connection, and A1 out of the match. 3 versus 3 versus 3, 9 elimination, Sem9, 9 elimination BTR, and 7 for Team Arena.
Well, so far it does seem like Sem9 and BTR do have a slight bit of an advantage. Arena now managing to bring their 3rd player back into the fight, but they are outside of the zone. They need to find a way in. It's going to be Mormon, the next one to get dropped on down. It's going to be Firen opening the play onto NC2. And now, Arena down to a solo. Tony K going to try and hold on, maybe apply a little bit of that pressure. Get a little bit more aggressive now onto the side of Mormon. Want to get that res in. Make sure that they have 2 players at least to move forward in this fight. But BTR, they're not going to sit around and wait. They're going to start to just apply themselves onto the edge of zone. High though, is going to be the one to snag that finish. As we now see Sem9 up to 10 elims. BTR get the other elims. So both squads now sitting here with double digits and 3 players left to defend. So talk about a fair battleground. This is exactly what we are going to be looking at. But Sem9 don't need to get the whole squad into the zone. I mean, Kent, though, for BTR, has a very secure position all the way towards that eastern side of zone.
I mean, I love this how Arena got divided by these 2 teams. VDR was like, I'm gonna have one elimination. 7-9 is also like, yeah, I'm gonna have the other one. And with this, Arena was just out of the proximity of the game. We're down to the top two, 3 versus 3. 7-9 in the compounds. Bigatron by Vitality having the upper ground, but 8th stage closing on 48 meters outside. You are Pedralis. Mulvey is going to be taken down. Firen is going to instantly decimate the guy. He has been fully finished off. Pedralis also spotted. It's a knockdown, and down to the last guy they go. And it is. And I think, from what I can assume, Kent's location is also like completely reeled out. So he can only manage to maybe get 1 elimination, 2 elimination maximum, but it is looking a very great winner chicken dinner for the 7-9s as player. Behind the rock that they are, throwing grenades, coming up, it's coming, the grenade's coming, not any connection. The second one closes up, it's definitely going to be a damage. A Molotov on its way as well. Oh my god, the situation is going so intense. Grenade on the face, and there we have it. Yuhai getting the final grenade in the coffin and getting everything decimated for the team, getting the winner chicken dinner. It is 7-9 with 13 elimination points.
Yeah, a pretty strong finish coming into yet another game here. Match number 4 done and dusted. So we've now seen 4 different teams securing themselves the victory. BTR definitely choosing to bounce back aggressively coming into this game. And I think it was about time, right? Bigatron by Vitality, they were sitting on 22 points, so there was, of course, a golden opportunity for them to really step it up. And boy, did they step it up. 7-9, though, going to lock it in here, coming through with their glorious finish. Getting that winner chicken dinner, doing quite a bit of damage along the way. They also started off with 7 points to their name. Now adding to that big fat finish, it is going to be quite the one for them to lock it in. And I'm curious to see how this then will reflect over onto the points, because I mean, both these teams did a phenomenal job, but you got to give it up to Firen coming through as our MVP for the match, nearly hitting 900 damage and 5 eliminations.
There's those 5 eliminations, 895 damage, close to 900, but survival time of 27 minutes on almost the clock. That's a good start as well. That is definitely a good MVP ranking. But one thing, the MVP finally matters from this point onward, like from today's onward, because you're gonna have the $50 for that top MVP player going into the match ranking. 23 total points. Bigatron by Vitality on the other hand securing 16. Arena with 12. 8 for Vampire, 7 for A1. Boom with 7 as well. 6 for Hora. Wine Donkeys with the 5. DRS with the 5. Alter Egos with 4. 2 for Alpha, 7. DRX Champions, RQ. Yangon with the 1. And Talent, Tribe, and Secret with 0 whatsoever. This is the match ranking of the match number 4. The second phase of Erangels and the Miramars done and dusted. Meaning, we're down to the last 2. 1 more Miramar, 1 more Erangel.
Yep, that is going to be pretty hot and sweaty. Bigatron finishing strong there. Got to love it for them. Arena again showing us that they can still pack quite a bit of a punch, but it's all going to come down to what those overall standings show and where these teams find themselves. That will indicate how much work they are yet to do. Triberacy and Arena now going to be tied on 28 points, and of course 48 points tie up at the top between Horror Esports and Alter Ego. So the pressure is on Bigatron, now closing that gap to only a 10-point difference between second and third place. But what an attempt it has been so far. It is all going to boil down to the wire. The final few games here, at least for today, to see where the teams will find themselves moving into the last day, which is going to be coming in tomorrow. So, yeah, only 8 games remain. That's it. 8 matches left, and then we'll have our victor.
We sure will. We sure will have our victors after, 8 more matches to go. But so far, it is the first chart from 48 all the way down to the 22. That's 26 points of the difference that we're seeing from the number 1 to the number 9. Going into the second chart, we will definitely see a lot of more points of a difference, because I still believe the bottom line teams, the one that are up until top 15. 15 onward to 18, they will still have less than 10 points to their name. We will do have to see that what's going to happen, but going over there, it is no. In fact, 15 has 10, 16 has 10, 7 for RRQ, and champions with just the 2. But at the very top of the page number 2, it is Talon with 18 and 16 for Alpha 7. Sticking on the hashtag number 11 for Alpha 7. 15 points for Yangon. They're going to lose 2 of their placement. Boomy Sports is going to climb some placement points and some rankings for themselves with 12 total points. And Wine Donkeys staying on the 14th with 11 points as well.
Yeah, interesting tally that we see here with the overall points. So it does mean that there's still a lot of opportunity for teams, especially at the top side of that second page, from 10th place all the way to, I'd say, probably 13th, to still contest at least for the top 9 and maybe even for the top 5. But there we have it, our chicken dinner winners so far for the day in each of our matches. Them 9 coming in with the last one here. 2 more to go. Only 2 chickens up for grabs. And hey, whoever gets that chicken is going to be smiling quite a bit at the end of the day.
Oh, he definitely will. He definitely will be smiling for the rest of the day at the very least. And on top of that, whosoever is going to have the number 1 spot, that guy is also going to be smiling whatsoever. But yes, how much of a difference can you actually make between the number 1, number 2, and the number 3 placement? This is the big question after the 6 initial matches of the day number 1. But right, ladies and gentlemen, before heading to the match number 5, let's go for a short bit of highlighted break. You guys don't have to go anywhere. Enjoy the highlights. Make sure you're liking the stream and make sure you're subscribing to the channel. And we will see you on the other side of the break.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We're getting ready to move into our final Miramar right here in day 1 of the Asia Showdown Season 3. Grand final so far, absolutely phenomenal. The teams performing like the legends that they are. But of course, now the big question is going to be, who's going to be securing our 5th winner chicken dinner for the day? And of course, our very last Miramar winner chicken dinner. So far, a few contenders have risen to the occasion. Of course, the last one we saw went straight over to the players there from Team Eremisi. So, yeah, Tribe Eremisi definitely have an opportunity to lock in even more success. But the question is, will they be able to get the job done, right? Are they going to be able to have their hand at that chicken, or will they be maybe running into quite a bit of opposition along the way? Because if you remember, the first one went straight into the hands there of the players from DRX. So the pressure is going to be on. The contenders are going to step it up, and if the zone works along with them, there's going to be a lot of trouble along the way.
Oh, there's definitely going to be a lot of trouble along the way if the zone did not work out for them. But yes, it's the Miramar, ladies and gentlemen, the final Miramar of the day number 1. Oh, it's definitely going to be an intense one. Imagine the plane line going bad, but nope. I am wrong. The plane line is actually going to favor somewhat of the teams from the Soriauma that goes down to the Los Agosta, Partona area. So El Pozo is the only place I'd say that's not going to be accessible. Other than that, Los Leones, El Azaz, San Martin, Hacienda, Picado, Power Grid, all of those crucial placement place locations where the teams do generally drop off. They're absolutely available for the teams. Los Leones being, I'd say, the center point of the contestation, we can assume, in at least at this match, unless the team decides to go to a different location. Because last even Miramar, there was 3 to 4 teams in the Los Leones alone.
Yeah, I mean, Los Leones sometimes is an interesting place to move through here. But again, it's being so vast, the teams won't find each other that easily necessarily. But it's all going to depend on where this first zone is going to be taking us. For the time being, it is going to be Horror Esports all the way up in towards Torre Ahumada. So no one there to even be stressed about, as they are very far removed from the rest of the teams, at least with their position on the map for now. We'll see soon what that zone is going to be doing and just how far these teams will have to rotate. Ooh, over to the western side, centering up onto the El Pozo fields. This is going to be an interesting showdown.
It definitely will be an interesting one. That we can assume for sure. But the circle going all the way to the different direction than the plane line, it actually shows that it wants the chaos as well for all of the teams, all of these players as well at this point. And that's exactly what they're going to receive. That's exactly what they are going to have for themselves. But wait a second. I see Sem9 player still dropping down. Oh, come on. From the parachute. But there's also one, U-High, that's already knocked out.
Let's see if Sem9 can bounce back. One play down so early on is maybe a little bit of a troubling angle. But it doesn't seem like there's too much for them to be too concerned about. They are going to be able to make it up in towards Monte Nuevo unobstructed. Go about their looting phase. Potentially -1 player though.
I mean, this is just the start and potentially the -1 player. I kind of want to see that single player. Where is he? Who is responsible for that knockout, for that elimination? Because he's receiving a lot of damage. Maybe he's AFK, maybe he's in the water or somewhere in like a position where he's receiving the damage constantly. Because that amount of HP drop is not normal. But Axel is the one responsible for that first elimination, and that's what's going to happen. Axel is going to have that first elimination from the Talon Esports side. It's a contestation against Talon Esports that we witnessed at the very start, and the rest of the team of the Sem9, they were able to get out of there unscathed, but only one casualty whatsoever. How they're gonna like utilize and change this elimination into their own favor to the next phases, this is a big question. But so far it is a One Donkeys versus Bigatron on our screen, ladies and gentlemen. The parties, the teams are right in front of us. But oh my god, there we go. There we have it. That's one knockdown. Potato's down. It's a confirmation on Potato and one elimination to the name of BTR.
Well, let's see if that is going to play out in their favor now. The confirmation, one elimination, as you said. Now, just getting what limited loot there was in that box. Of course, it is still early stage, so there's not going to be all too much to grab from the opponent's boxes. RRQ, though, going to look to play for elevation as they now start to go up the hill. It's good to see that you can now drive up the hill going forward as opposed to having to reverse your way back up there, right? You don't have to look down to where you came from. You can look up to where you're going.
I mean, if you know, I mean, gravity only works if you're looking down, right? That's what my childhood has taught me. So maybe that's why they're finally looking up, defying the gravity, getting up there. But aside from that, looking at the team RRQ so far, it's a 2 players only here, but Lapov finally getting into the car, the rest of the players in a different direction, close to the proximity. I can see a different team, champions, I do believe so, on the very mountain top where one of the players was moving from. But DRS, so far, they're on our screen. And what I can assume from the DRS is DRS kind of wants those fights to happen. That's why they went Hacienda del Patron, the San Martin area. They got that golden Mirado, but there was nobody even remotely close to them to get that contestation done. And because of this, not only they're out of that unscathed without even a single casualty or even a single damage, they're here trying to find more people.
Yeah, so they started with their road to El Dorado, and then they got the golden Mirado. So, yeah, I like the change. Horror, though. Yeah, also pretty high and elevated. I wonder if they're going to try and squeeze the whole squad up in there. I hope they've got weapons, because why else would you be situated so high up, being able to see opponents rotating in, but you can't do anything other than shout at them. And unfortunately, this being Miramar, the sound doesn't travel too well. The heat does break up the sound waves quite a bit. But of course, then it is going to be the players here from A1 coming in on that southern side of the zone. Going to be looking for their spot to call home, at least for this next phase. But there's still 2 minutes left until the blue zone is going to close up completely.
Well, the blue zone's definitely going to close up completely. But so far, it's the first stage that's closing on and not a single fight. The Minamod's finally changing the momentum, ladies and gentlemen, for these teams, for these players. They're finally going from the aggressive to a little passive. 17 teams into the match, but still, that's one thing. That one team that did not join, we're finally back to the starting that we took flight from. 17 teams. Not the 18 full lobby, RQ on the top of the mountain, but right below them, it's Ahura. It's entering this vicinity. No God, finally getting down. It's Doc, it's confirmation. It's a beautiful elimination to the name of Ahura. Not only that elimination number, but the top of the mountain as well for them.
Well, it's going to be a sweet, sweet spot to be in, as they are able to hold on a little while longer, playing to be the kings of the big hill as they hold steady. Now, Triberacy out in the open. Not quite sure where they're going. I thought they were heading up into Chumacera, but turns out it was maybe just a little bit of a detour before fully committing to that. They do already have their first initial scout in there, as you can see Trix taking up position. Now it's going to be a Rig and the rest of the team looking to get this one sorted out. So again, a good, decent stop along the way as they make that push in anticipation of several other teams maybe rotating up along that southern line. It is going to be an interesting one to see once we get to that point. But now, yeah, it is going to be Vampire Esports just making sure their weapons work properly. Not that there's anything for them to shoot at just yet. I say that, and then E-Arena starts moving in the distance.
I mean, this is still one of the phases that we're going to see not a lot of fights to actually commence on. we're gonna see a stalemate. But yes, there will be those short fights, one player getting eliminated, two players maybe getting eliminated, but we haven't even seen a full team being annihilated at this point in time. It's just those initial, okay, one knock, two knock, three players being dead. No, it's still that. It's still going on. Unless it's the stage number 3 now, I can assume that we're not going to see that much of a casualty fight that we have seen throughout this whole day so far. But VP, Vampire Esports versus M9. Fire gets taken down. It's a knockdown. It's a confirmation. Vampire Esports is also going to lose one of their players as well into this trade-off. But wait a second. Did these two guys from the VP just managed to secure the 3 eliminations and just got an instant annihilation on M9?
Yes, they did, but they might not live long enough to celebrate, as we do see Talon moving in on that western side. And then there's even more moving in on their east as well. So they have to be really quick about how they get to play through these positions, right? BTR also starting to expand their reach as they're now taking up the fields. Very centered up within the zone. Interesting angle that they've decided to go for here. It does give them a little bit of an opportunity, especially for the teams rotating up from that southern side. But as we saw up on towards their northwestern front, it is going to be quite difficult to spot a good angle onto Hora. We have now playing for that elevated angle. Meanwhile, Arena also holding a nice little bit of a spread here. And I think this is what makes this area so exciting, is all the mountains and the hills and cliffs the teams can get themselves positioned on. You got to keep your head on an absolute swivel. As you can see, Kayor just hitting the shots, but unfortunately not being able to convert that into a knock just yet.
Oh my god, but on the top of the mountain, on the top of this mountain location, mountain range, we are seeing a Hora versus RRQ, in which case Hora Esports wins it over, get that fight for themselves. But 2 of their own players is right now knocked out. Do not show your face there. Do not take a peek on that very bottom line, because the rest of the team RRQ, they're looking at you from the other side of the mountain. Foster you finally gonna drop down, gets eliminated. The car has been blown into bits, so you can't even get out of this place unscathed. You have to drop down, you have to get knocked out. Someone has to come there to get that revival done on you. But here we go, another stage, stage number 3. It's about to happen, it's about to commence, and it's gonna go towards the western side area, Monte Nuevo. It's still somewhat in the circle. Talon, they're scattered onto the roadside. Maybe the mountain ranges are also into their favor. A1, I'm seeing them close to DRX's proximity. The fight can happen, but in the mini screen, you can see Boom Esports finally taking the fight, getting a knockdown. It's Team Secret versus Boom Esports.
Yeah, like to see it. Now let's see whether or not they are going to be able to close it up, though. A slight bit of a ranged assault across the way between the two. Alter Ego going to be feeding that heat as Frankie comes knocking on the door as well. Hora will need to find a way to get themselves out of that blue zone, as it is going to absolutely devour them. But now, Tribe Eremacy, they're going to be looking to play on the southern edge of zone. Got to watch out for Champion behind him, though, but their main focus is going to be on the edge here alongside Vampire Esports.
I mean, Vampire Esports, the location, it's kind of like a centralized position for Vampire, but there's so many teams into the surrounding sides that even if they're taking the fight with one team, there's always the possibility of the rest of the teams to actually commence on these guys from a third-party angle from a very long range. So it's a double-edged sword. Whether you're in like a safe zone location, you have not even a single placement, single location, like your backside, your left, or your right, into a complete safe side area. It's definitely going to be one of the few places where you might get those shots connected on you, but so far it is Hora. RRQ is gonna lose it up, and there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That is another name that will be wiped out of this game. 14 teams remaining, and 14 teams of which 52 players are going to be playing. Some players just definitely got knocked out, finished off. But hold up, Skuuy, I know your name is Skuuy, but that doesn't mean that you can jump down from the sky.
Yeah, if Hora believe they can fly, I don't know if they're gonna make it in though. It's a long way down. But as we saw, they are making attempts to get themselves back up in towards the zone. It's all about angles for at this point. And now, speaking about angles, A1 going to be looking to play the position here onto Talon. They've got two players from what we can see just on that minimap held up ahead of them. Vampire Esports, they know that someone is in the area. There's going to be E-Arena just up on the high ground. And then, of course, as we can see just alongside them there, we've got another team holding steady. DRS, though, going to be feeding that sting as much. He sends it out, finds the hits. And now Samsa needs to try and figure out what to do from here.
Oh, my God. It's a back and forth going on, ladies and gentlemen. It's a back and forth going on. It's back-to-back those eliminations happening. One Donkeys versus DRS. DRS losing their players. JD is down as well, and Samsa, the final hope for the team. He's trying. He manages to get out of this, at least location. But the location that he has gone to, there's another name. Right there, and he is definitely gonna get those shots. There we go. Federal is getting that final nail in the coffin. DRS with one elimination out of the match. Hashtag number 14. Okay, this is gonna be disastrous. This is actually gonna be disastrous of the gameplay that we're saying. 13 teams still alive, and this much of a time has passed by. 15 minutes have passed by so far. It's already super insane on that amount, on that occasion. So whatever these teams, whatever these players in fact are doing, they have to start aggressing it up at this point, because if they don't, the things are only come and bite you for as long as you're gonna delay the inevitables.
Well, they can only delay it for so much longer. It's going to be Zeta now trying to push. Oh, but look at this. It's going to be Horror getting absolutely picked apart. Void Donkey capitalizing on a brief moment of opportunity. As they step up, they get the hits, and that's it. 4 eliminations to their name. But now Zeta needs to get back into Wood Zone. Otherwise, all of that would have been for naught. Now, in the top 12, they're going to try and just quickly edge their way on through. But there's still quite a few teams just positioned ahead of them. So, no security just yet. E-Arena, though, going to try and figure out what their approach will be. You can see E-Arena moving up. Ooh, BTR and Yangon Galacticos now also getting ready for a little bit of an exchange. Murnat trying to play that awareness. They get their head on the swivel. Void Donkey coming through with a push. The angles are coming in from all sides. And Void Donkey will get themselves eliminated.
Yup, they did. Void Donkey's out of the match as well. This is not looking good for them as well. Right here, BTR is also going to face the casualties, and in a single instance, it's all over for them as well. In the smash, there's a lot of casualties going around now. As soon as we're going to move from the stage number 3 to the stage number 4, and from the stage number 4 to the stage number 5, we're going to see 4 total teams demise. From 14 all the way down to the 10, we have gone down up into. But Joker, was that an emote that he was doing? Was he emoting at the top of this mountain? But now finally he's going to shoot at the cars. He's going to make sure that the back tire is punctured, the front tire. The rest of the teams, they're also closing on, but he's not going. He's not taking the fight right there. He's still staying in the back. He's not over pushing. He's not over peaking. Krypton, M79, the smoke grenade launcher, definitely making a foul pass. Trying to hold it up, but we do have to see what's gonna happen. Krypton, so far, not making any kind of movement. E-Arena, waiting, looking at them, not moving too much, but Alva getting into the car, he's getting shots, he's getting those damages, but Alva couldn't survive, gets a knockdown, but now, well, you be able to get a revive at this point. 157 meters outside of the circle. Stage number 4 is closing on, so be very careful and be very precise on your rotations.
Well, Young Gun Galacticos are going to be still out on that blue edge, just holding for a little bit of something, potentially, maybe. And now, Vampire also just patiently awaiting the play coming through here from Tribe Eremacy. You can see them just on the ridge line, but they're not going to act on it just yet, waiting to see if another team could maybe lend a bit of a helping hand. Alter Ego, oh yeah, in a world of hurt as E-Arena claps back, swings on through, and with that, ships them right out of here. Young Gun Galacticos now going to be feeling a very similar kind of situation come in their direction. As you can see, NC2 prepping up the utilities, getting ready to send it out. Cloud has been spotted, but fortunately does manage to miss that grenade explosion. But the push is not going to stop anytime soon. E-Arena, though, they need to focus up here. They need to get their butts in zone, because once that blue claps, it claps so exceptionally hard. It is stage number 5. And you cannot afford to go out sipping on some blue juice. DRX, though, off in the distance. As we saw them over on towards that western front. Going to be keeping themselves just out of reach, at least for now.
I mean, yes. From this point onward, be very careful on what you're going to do, because the top 9 it is. And E-Arena having 3 eliminations, Yangon having 9, and they're finally into the fight against the Vampire Esports. The situation is not looking good. The situation is not looking good whatsoever. It is 1 versus 3. Yangon has a solo, Vampire has a full trio at this point, and Romeo Boy with 18 bullets connected. He's going to reload, he's going to get it back to 40. Now going to move forward. Let's see what's going to happen, how he's going to perform it up. He's low on that HP, and on the backside from the top of the mountain, he gets that shot connected. It's over. It's over for the guy. And right with this, another team, another name with the highest number of elimination just got eliminated. E-Arena still taking those fights against DRX. As look at those grenades going on, and look at those grenades popping off. Vampire, E-Arena, both of them are making sure that there's a heavy casualty on DRX.
Yeah, well, both teams succeed in causing that, as DRX gets sent back and not a single elimination point for them to rely on. Now, it's going to be Tribe Eremacy holding just in the ditch, waiting to see where the zone is going to take them. And it does shift a little bit further down towards the south. Fortunately, not a super aggressive shift, but it is going to be allowing for quite a bit of continuancy up on towards this northern side. Now, Tribe Eremacy, they've not done much so far. They've rotated all the way to here and then kept quiet. Now, it's up to Vampire Esports as well as E-Arena to decide their fate. Will we see Tribe Eremacy survive beyond this stage? Only time will tell, but of course quite a few vulnerable positions further down in towards that zone across the way. A1 caught in a very difficult position here. They have to try and rotate all the way back in towards zone, but they can't help themselves. There are talent players off in the distance. They want to score their first few eliminations for this match. So far, they only have placement points to capitalize on.
I mean, yeah, that's the only thing that they have so far to capitalize on. But A1 now coming into somewhat of a safe position. They're still like want more and more elimination, but Champion, come on, you need to step up, guys. You need to step up at this point, because Champion is one team that is still at the very bottom of the chart. They're getting a lot damage connected. Oh my god, barely surviving once again into the same compounds. There's definitely going to be a lot of fights happening into this particular location, as Balja healing himself, getting his health back to the 75. Can he make sure at least take down 1 or 2 of the players before absolutely getting eliminated from this match? Because the chances are very slim, but the chances are definitely there. There we go. The damage has been done from Boom Esports over to A1. That's a knock. That's a confirmation going around. On the other side, talking about Boom. Boom is still, somewhat of the players are in the circle. Some of them are still outside. They still need to make and maintain their way in the circle at this point. But there we go. There we go. Boom Esports. Mastery. Nothing. No connection. But Boom. Octa. He got a knock. He got a confirmation. Arena versus Vampire is happening as well. There we go. Some knockouts, some connections, and some eliminations. Making sure that Vampire is going to have 7 eliminations to their name.
E-Arena are going to walk away with 6, but now comes that play for Team Aramacy. Are they going to look to get a little bit more active here, or will we see Vampire Esports laying into them? Of course, not the easiest rotation to commit to, but the smokes could definitely help a lot in that. Mueller now going to rush back into safety. Unfortunately, at least for the time being, Vampire Esports are situated within the zone, but we'll find out in the next few moments if they will be able to kind of keep their spot, or will they have to figure out how on earth they'll have to rotate from this. A quick little bit of cheeky nade now flying in. Oh, does find quite a bit of damage, but not enough to cause a knock. The molly is also getting returned to them. So this is where Vampire Esports need to be exceptionally careful, because one false move could light you on fire just like that.
Ooh,
now it's going to be Vina trying to dance around the flames, but will not be making it out. Instead, gets confirmed. The zone is going to force their hand. They have to get out of here. They have to move further down south. But Mueller and the rest of Vampires now starting to crumble as the pressure is just too immense. Shots coming in from across the zone. That is Talon being an absolute nuisance right here. C1 Champion Esports on that far southern side, reaching across the zone as well. Alpha, or the A1 Esports here, getting ready for a bit of a push. They want to charge forward, but I see a P90 in the hands of Champion Esports.
I do see that too. The player has a P90. It's going to be really difficult to take him down, but on the other side, he gets shot from a different direction. There we go. There's a lot of damage. A1 Esports very low, very to the last guy it is. The S12K makes it way, gets the elimination, and there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. Another team out of the match. We're officially down into the top 4. Not even 5. Top 4 in an instant. 15 players remaining. 15 players. 4 total teams. Some are trio, some are duo. In fact, it's a trio and full squads at this point. 3 full squads and 1 trio in the midst of that. So the situation, it's definitely going to be difficult.
Yeah, quite the tough odds to try and play with here. There is a golden opportunity now for Champion Esports to maybe get a quick third-party play up onto that southern side of zone. But in the same breath, Tribe Aramacy could also look to bounce back with quite a bit of an angle on their front. So Boom needs to be very cautious, very careful. Talon also needs to watch their backs here.
I mean, everybody needs to watch their back, don't they? At this point, there is no room for the mistakes. You make a mistake, you're going to pay with your whole team's lives. From that point on, where Champions has lost one of their players. There we go. It's a 1 knockdown. They're going to get that revive as soon as possible. Yes, they did. But Boom Esports is also going to receive the casualties going around. There's another grenade going. There we go. There we go. Boom Esports getting boomed out of almost the match, with Champions also down to the very last guy. Situation is not looking good. Situation is not looking good whatsoever. But Boom Esports, another Balja's grenade, gonna make sure that the Boom players that were knocked out, they get a fully finished off. Balja super low on that HP. He managed to do a lot of damage onto the Talon Esports player, but not enough to get those connectivities on the knockouts, on those eliminations. They're still alive. They're still into the match, and they're definitely going to heal themselves, get back to the 75, then move forward. Slowly, Tribe Aramacy is also going to make their move. So far, it's 6 eliminations to their name, but they're not getting more and more. They're waiting. They're chill. They're making sure that the team pushes on them rather than they push on them and expose their own locations.
Well, let's see who is going to do what, as it is the final showdown. It is going to be the players here from Champion Esports with the solo, Boom with the solo, and then still the 2 full squads now looking to get themselves situated. I think this is going to be a healthy altercation coming in between Team, or rather Tribe Aramacy and Talon. As you can see, a Flame now cooking up the nade, looking to stay true to their own name. The shot's not making any impact whatsoever, but here comes the push. A slow, steady advance with that body blast, trying to get it up in towards the zone, bringing in that mobile coverage with it. Rig now managing to duck their way through the damage. Oh, Octa trying everything they can to get into a secure position. Fortunately, that vehicle has already gone up in smoke, so it does provide at least a little bit of a safe position for the time being. The blue zone is going to start nipping at their heels, and they don't have many options remaining. How are they going to look to play through this one? This could be the end now for Boom Esports.
This definitely can be the end for the Boom Esports, as they're just behind a single individual car. A wrong move will instantly mean that you're not going to survive. You show your face, it's going to be over for you. There's Talon Esports into the mist, coming close to the areas as well. We're seeing Delta, we're seeing Talon Flame, Johan in the area, Yoru shooting at the players, but not getting any connectivity. Come on, come on. You need those connectivities. You need to get those action done on the players. Get those connectivities right there, because if you don't, there's definitely going to be someone at the very least that's going to do it. That's going to get those connections. But so far, it is Talon Flame that's going to get taken down. So it's boys, Exil, the only two guys that are for the Talon with 4 elimination. Slowly aggressing it up, but Boom Esports gets boomed right there and then. And now it's a 4 versus 2 situation. Is looking really good into the favor of the team AST. The situation, the chances of the winner of the chicken are all facing towards this single individual team, and that's exactly what's gonna happen. There we have it, ladies and gentlemen. We have a winner chicken dinner as soon as I said the name, and it's none other than the Tribe Arrow Messi. The way that they had the 4-man alive, I mean, it was obvious at that point.
Yeah, I mean, numbers advantage definitely does go a long way in helping to secure that victory. But what a play it was coming through from Tribe Aramacy, walking away with their heads held high. And I mean, they seem to be what we could maybe call repeat offenders when it comes to this map, right? They are really good over on the map of Miramar. They got the previous winner chicken dinner, well, the most points, right? They got second place. This time, they took it that extra little bit further. If you remember the previous Miramar, they were fighting against A1 for the victory. A1 came in clutch. Tribe Aramacy had to settle for second. This time around, Tribe Aramacy tried again, and they got it with everything available to them. 5 eliminations and 808 damage. That is what Delta did in this past game to receive the MVP award, being the GOAT with the most in our very last Miramar.
I mean, he definitely did secure that MVP with 800 damage. There we have it, ladies and gentlemen. 5 eliminations, 28 minutes of the survival time, but still, even this, will it be enough to get you into that top MVP rankings, into the overall, when we're going to see that? Because that's $50 individually. That is at stake for all of these players so far. But going into the match ranking, it is 21 for the Tribe Aramacy, 11 eliminations in total, and 10 placement points. 21. Talon Esports has 10 in total, 10 for the champions, 10 for the Vampire, but 9 for the Yangon, 7 for E-Arena, 6 for Boom, 5 for Alter Ego. We have 5 for the Hora, 4 for the Wine Donkeys. Slowly and steadily, the number is gradually dropping down. A1, Biggertron with 2, 1 for DRX, DRS, Sem9, but RQ and Secret is not going to have a single point.
Yep, it's unfortunate, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. Speaking about cookies, the top 4 teams, they got their hands full of it, right? 10 points plus going their way. It's going to be a very happy day. I like the fact that the Yangon Galacticos also stepped up their performance here. I think it was about time, because they were falling behind a little bit with regards to those points. Of course, getting relegated down into 12th place with only 15 points now. Adding to that overall tally could help strengthen their overall positioning. It's not going to be enough to secure them onto the first page, though, but it will put them a lot closer. But taking a look at what we have on this page, we have some pretty contentious plays up at the top. 53 points for first and second place.
I mean, that's exactly the same amount. Just a single match difference is going to make everything or break everything for you. So be very, very precise on what you need to do at this point, because those 53 points, they can either accumulate straight to the 53, stay to there, or they can go maybe more above than 60 points. But going into the second page, we are seeing more and more drop down of the points. Just look at this. Just look at that. That starting with 24 all the way down to 7. RRQ is at the very bottom of this overall chart board. This is the post-match number 5. There's still one more match remaining. There's still hope for some of the teams to secure their placement into the first chart, and even on the second chart, maybe have a decent position at the very least where you can reside for the day number 1. Because after this, after today, you're only going to have tomorrow for the winner, for the 6 matches that you're going to play for the champion slot.
Yeah, the pressure is there. I mean, it's all going to come down to that last performance, at least here for today. And in doing so, the teams will be able to alleviate a little bit of that pressure, as you said, coming into the final day of play. So, yeah, if RRQ looks to do anything here, they're going to have to find some magic because, yeah, I'm not quite sure what happened there, right? If we look at what they did in the playoffs, they played a really strong game, finishing, I believe that was on 72 points. Where is that same RRQ team? We've not seen a lot coming through from their end here today, but maybe Erangel will be the game in which they decide to get back to business.
I mean, that is absolutely true. There's only one more match remaining, and everything that you're about to make or break is going to depend on this match. So how you're going to play it up, that's going to be the most crucial part for you. And because it's the Erangel, you can definitely know for sure that it's definitely going to help you a lot, as you know Erangel like the back of your hand. But ladies and gentlemen, before heading into the very final match of the day number 1, we're going to be going into a very short break. Do not go anywhere, stay with us and enjoy the highlights. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, once again to the Lidoma Asia Showdown Season number 3, the grand finals of the day number 1. It's definitely has been an amazing journey for the past 5 matches, but now we're down to our very last one for the day number 1. After this, the day number 1 will be concluded. We just witnessed the overall ranking, and out of that, the top 2 teams, they had the exact same ditto points into the overall ranking as well. So this match is going to determine 2 things. First of all, who is going to be on the very top of the leaderboard after this match? Second thing, that how aggressive are the teams going to be for the very final match of the day? Because after this, after today, there's only going to be tomorrow the 6 matches that the teams that will be playing, and the only chances that they're going to have in securing that top position, the champion title, and that $700 for themselves.
Yeah, the pressure is going to be pretty high, and I mean, so far the teams have not been disappointing at all here today. They've just been bringing it in game after game after game, but it's all going to boil down to what this last match brings, at least for today, to kind of know where these teams are moving then into tomorrow's games. I don't necessarily see too much of a change up coming through within our top 4 teams, right? That is Horror Esports, Alter Ego, Tribe Eremacy, and Bigatron by Vitality. But there is still an opportunity for E-Arena to catch up, as well as Sem9. DRS could also try and make a run with that, but this is where I think the teams sitting a little bit closer towards that bottom side of the first page are going to be maybe sweating a little bit, right? Because Yangon Galacticos, not far behind them. DRX, as well as Vampire Esports, also, they're there, they're knocking on the door, and they want to come in. And if they bring it coming into this next match, we could be looking at a slightly different outcome to tomorrow's matches.
I mean, yeah, it's just the one more day for the teams, and this time around, we should be looking at our Erangel match. Oh my god, it's going to be super intense. It's going to be so good. I really want to see how that Erangel is actually going to affect the team's holdout for the players, and how many of them are actually going to go for those aggressive stances, because it's the final match. Do you believe, I have a question for you, do you believe that we're going to see the same kind of aggression that we saw into the playoffs last day, where everything was ending by the 15th minute, or no?
Let's maybe try and push it for 10. No, I'm joking. I think it could be an interesting one to see what these teams are going to be bringing out of here. Realistically, I don't think it's going to take them 10 minutes to finish this up, right? Yes, they do have a beautiful flight path to kind of accompany them into this final game of the day, but you got to take into account all the different drop locations they have, right? Unless they had a group decision where everybody needs to drop in one city, I don't see this really happening, right? And I don't see them realistically talking to each other in between matches, because why would you do that, right? Instead, I think the teams are going to play the game the way that they are planning on doing it, and it is going to be, hopefully, an absolutely amazing game, just like the other 5 that we've seen.
I mean, this is just the start of the flight, and already there's Yangon going Nobar military base to Team RRQ, Sem9 near the military base island as well. But so far, come on, no fights, not a single team going close to each other, meaning we're not going to see any kind of early fights. So maybe not. But yeah, Talon going farm. Milta City, DRS, LA1 in fact, to Shelter. There is the Vigatron going to the Shelter and dissipating between Shelter and the south side of Yasnaya Poliana's open area, the compounds that there is. But right now, the circle is going to be formed towards the western side. Pachinki is not contested at any point in time right now in this match at the very least. DRX has decided not to go there and move towards the further end of the western areas. The Gutka, the Chopsticks. Team E-Arena, yes, they have the ruins, they have the location, but it all comes down. I want to see the fights happen, but wait a second. Did A1 Esports have an offline player?
Ooh. I mean, Hora only came in with a 3-piece as well, so this is already an interesting point for them to kind of start off with. As you can see, Team Eremacy off in the distance there, trying to just get the heck out of Dodge, as they are going to try and play a little bit further up north. Maybe not going to go up into Savoni, because that is where we have Voin Donkey. So they want to maybe opt for, I'd say, potentially Asnaya Poliana, or they're going to go for those compounds just to the west of Stalba, over on the foot of the mountain. But we'll find out pretty soon where these teams are going to take the fight towards, as we do have Talon very spread out in and around the farm area. DRS also not too far over towards that eastern bridge. So I want to see if there's going to be a little bit of a challenge coming through here from either side.
Yeah, that is true. We do have to see if there's any challenge going to be coming for any of the teams at this point, because this is the final one. But whoa. You good? You good, bro? You good, both of you? But there we go. Big Papa was instantly denied even the exit. And oh, I loved it. I loved it. He's just ramming down the car. The rest of the party comes in, gangs up on him, gets him down. It's a knock, and it will be a finisher sooner or later. But I do love, as soon as he gets knocked out, there was the firebolt right on his face as well. He received that damage. So they're here for that aggression.
Yeah, aggression is going to be what we like to see for the remainder of this match. Now, Talon, again, as I mentioned, one of those teams that don't necessarily have to stress about anybody rushing up on towards them. But I think the aim here is going to be for the teams to finish with as many points as they can muster, because it will make tomorrow a whole lot easier for them. I mean, Horror Esports and Alter Ego, I don't see them stressing, at least not for today. It's going to be up to what Bigatron by Vitality and, of course, Team Eremacy are going to be bringing in here, because Eremacy only 4 points away from catching up to Horror and Alter Ego. So there is a little bit of an opportunity there for a change with regards to who is sitting at the top of the board come end of day. The rest of the teams a little bit further down the board: Vampire, Boom, Alpha 7, Voin Donkey, RRQ. This is that opportunity, the final chance here today to make enough of an impact to these overall standings. And realistically, there's still a chance.
There definitely is a still chance, but so far, I don't know why the players are not going for the aggressive stances. Yes, DRX lost one of their players to the arena at early stages, but aside from that, everybody else, just look at them. They're just chill. They're just waiting for the thing, like, okay, we're gonna get the arsenal, we're gonna get some more loot slowly, steadily, we're gonna win it over each and every one of those scenarios that are about to be into the play. But 5 minutes have passed, and only one player, individual player at the early stages, got eliminated. So far, it is DRS Gaming into the front lines. There's Samza, there's Chad Claude. He's onto the back lines. He's the only guy with the car so far, and the two players, for some reason, they're just crossing the bridge on foot, even though you know you don't need to go towards the other side of the bridge. They're still crossing it for some reason. Boom Esports, outskirts of the Pachinki, they are like rotating their car from one direction to another and hoping to find someone into the long premises, but no luck. Everybody is either super well hidden or not even in a major city.
Yeah, they've all engaged that stealth mode, right? And I mean, they need to teach me how, because I also would like to use a bit of a stealth mode approach. For now, it is going to be Boom Esports just patrolling the perimeter here, looking to see if anybody has dared step into their area. And of course, speaking about areas, Alpha 7, they have this whole entirety of North George to themselves, right? Nobody else dropped here. So I want to see, are they going to maybe move down to South George, go into the container yard, or are they going to full send it down into that southern position of the zone? Meanwhile, it's going to be Yangon Galacticos now rotating further down south. Interesting decision. And of course, this makes sense now. DRS being the gatekeepers to this bridge, allowing access or denying access to the main island.
And that's what I love the most. DRS denying the exit, denying the entry to the main island. But the way that they have given out the locations to the players, but also got the 2 eliminations, it's a good start. It's a very wonderful start for the DRS, but they have to continue this momentum for a tad bit longer bit of time if they want to like make the most out of it. So far, what we are seeing here is a bridge camp. It's straight up the bridge camp, the bridge holding going on, and sometimes being in the very centralized position. Imagine a car coming from the very top speed and just instantly getting him down, and the rest of the players actually just surviving for that point in time as well. But RQ, they're also close to the Yangon Galacticos, and they're at the military base island. Come on, this is the time. This is the moment. You have to step up. RQ pushing on towards the Yangon Galacticos. They're chasing the player down, but the main question still remains. Are you going to be able to chase him till the end of the year, till his fuel runs out, or you're just going to give up and go back to your own rotation?
It seems like Yangon might have opted or maybe considered rotating across the bridge, but it turns out this is now just a big old cat and mouse game. As we can see, them just chasing each other around. No one really finding any clear, decisive plays. Of course, opting for the western bridge, I think, would have been a slightly big-brained play here, because there is nobody currently opposing the bridge, right? You can still comfortably rotate up onto it. Getting to the other side, that's a whole different story. But essentially, there is one way to get off this military island without taking too much damage, because DRS, they were also occupying that eastern bridge. Fortunately, DRS decided that they've had enough, and they're now going to continue to move elsewhere. RRQ, though, they found the play onto Yangon. Let's see whether or not they are going to be able to wrap this one out. Quick cheeky molly through the window is not going to be enough to find Master Smile, though. But up comes the reinforcements. Maybe Yangon can still clutch this one out and then rotate to zone.
I mean, you have to do something. You have to do something. But wait a second. That's a lot of casualties just waiting at the proximity of the quarry region. But Yangon Galacticos finally getting a knockdown on towards the Team RQ's players. The rest of the 3 players are actually into the same particular location, but we're not seeing any kind of over-aggression from the side. We're not seeing any kind of over-pushing from Yangon, as the Yangon is down to the last guy. He's going to make sure that he gets the eliminations rather than being aggressed upon or aggressing on the team members on the enemy side, where there is also the chance that he might actually get eliminated. But he has some decent number of healings, 10 bandages, 1 first aid, and the position that he has put himself into, I think he's going to be spottable. He's definitely going to be spottable. There's definitely going to be people looking at him. Be very careful on what you're going to do, as 3-4 players of the RQ are actually going to the same direction that they came from. They're like, okay, we're done. Let's go back to the zone. And Yangon, now without a car. Does he have a car? Does he have a vehicle? Because I don't think he does. He's without a vehicle, and he has to move on foot now from this point onward.
Fortunately, it's only stage 2, so it's not going to cause too much of an issue for a very, very delayed rotation into the zone. It's all going to matter whether or not they can actually find a vehicle and get their butts going before the zone starts to close, because then it is going to be more and more challenging to not only survive the blue damage, but also get into zone and not instantly get sent away when somebody coughs in your direction. But here we go, though, as Horror are going to be sitting up towards the northern side of zone, not quite moving up on towards Everest. Partially because Everest is not really in play, but there is a little piece of the mountain that they can get themselves situated on. RRQ now still coming through with that mad dash as they are pushing further and further onwards. Also, Alter Ego just about to gain their entry into the zone, rotating past Pachinki here. But look at the position. Look at where we're going. This zone is going to go out into the fields, and this is again going to be a very exciting zone to finish the day on.
I mean, this definitely is going to be a very exciting circle. Northwestern shift going around, and every single one of the team is residing there. We can see 18 teams, in fact 16 teams joining into the lobby. And with this, now, slow and steadily, we're seeing the players are moving forward. The Arena is one of the teams that are pushing forward towards the sides, and there is the possibility, there is the chance of the fight actually commencing on. They're looking, the RX is actually looking. Voin Donkeys is there as well, but Nia, are you going to be able to get a knockdown as A1 versus DRX? It happened. Vampire versus Arena happened. There's a lot of casualties going around, and DK, this final match is actually going to go very insane because of the circle that has just shifted towards the northwestern side and the amount of players that are still alive. I think it's a full lobby that we're still seeing alive.
Yeah, pretty much. Right, well, we got 16 teams in here from what we can see there, as we've had a pretty tough start to the game. But now, let's see who's going to go where. Right, a lot of damage has been dealt. Talon now trying to avoid the damage getting sent in their direction, but this could also then result in them pushing up on Vampire Esports, who, as we can see, are parked down below. Yeah, who worries about parking? Just leave your vehicles up on the roof. Get out while you can. Vampires now going to run. 20 points is what they had coming into this match. Talon just ever so slightly ahead of them with regards to those points, but this could now be the points getting locked in and sucked up by the Vampire Esports squad themselves. One elimination up. They have found that knock. The hovercraft is going to make pushing through the water considerably more comfortable. But here we go. A flame quickly setting out the utilities, trying to put up some cover. But now the send is there. The grenade is going to connect on through. And this is now Talon having to hold her with a full two-piece here as Vampires continue with their assault on the building.
It's an assault. We're going around. There we go. Talon, the last guy, is surviving. He's going to get one down. Almost the second one. There he goes. He gets the second one, but on the reload he goes. And that's the end of the Talon Esports. Vampire getting the 4, but with no casualties is a great jump. Great jump and a great start whatsoever we're seeing for this team. Bigatron by Vitality so far on our screen as well. Slowly approaching the situation outside of the circle now that they are so far. Be very careful on where you're going to enter because situations, the locations, it's not working out for majority of the time. Vampire Esports is finally going to be taken down by Arena as they're pushing. And to the last guy, Meala, there is no hope. There is no chance that I can say. Look at those, the grenades, the sprays that actually came. It's 5 eliminations for Arena in total so far. Finally, Vampire's guy is going to get into the hovercraft. He's going to move away. He's going to get out. But that's the biggest mistake that he's going to face, that he's going to do. And in an instant, it's over for the Vampire Esports.
It might also be over for DRS. You can see Zem9 getting ready for full-on assault. RRQ thought they could come up and sneak a cheeky play, but also now having to pay the price here for trying to rush over the ridge. We do say goodbye to Yangon Galacticos as they are not going to be able to survive any further in the zone. BTR, though, are going to come through with their approach as they rush on in, looking to see if they can maybe find a few of those runovers. But now Federal comes in, nice, closes it out, and that is it. DRS right out of here.
Beautiful.